Doop. Come on. There we go. Yo, what is up everyone, and welcome back to another YouTube video with your host Kenkukun. And today we're going to cover another segment on awareness. Now I've covered player awareness, right? Team awareness. I think a little bit of enemy awareness. We're going to cover a little bit more of enemy awareness. I got one of my friends with me. We're going to cover to know what the enemy can see. We're also going to cover retreat, which also comes with awareness. Like there's a lot for awareness, right? So we're gonna put a couple of small things in here, and we're gonna go from there and see how we can piece this together. Because once again, you get your fundamentals strong, and everything else gets easier. Yeah. So here we go. DJ doesn't know I'm recording. He's talking to me. You can't hear him, but I can. He's over here. Alright, so here we go. We're gonna dive right in. I hear you, DJ, but I'm already recording. Alright. Go ahead and go out to... Why am I on your team? What in the actual world? I switched teams. There we go. Go ahead and go outside to A. In the snipe lane. Alright, so once again, like I said, we're gonna cover awareness. And when I said, you know, in the last video, I said, hey guys, you kind of need to know what the enemy can look at. So you need to go into a private match, take your friends, and go where the enemy would go, where you're trying to defend. Say you were trying to defend this area where I'm at. You would want to be the guy that goes to the enemy, right? So this is going to be easier. So get in line of sight, DJ, until you can see me. Stupid flag, man. Get out of my way. There we go. All right, so we got DJ there, right? You don't have to hide. Stop hiding. Just stop hiding. So you got the enemy right there, right? So he can see you from just move until, you know, move in all the places you can see me. And just look at my scope, right? If I'm aiming for this guy, I have to adjust here, right? Here, here, here. Like he could come from, he could even slide in from the corner, right? So you need to know what they can see. So I think some of the sneakiest snipes, I would have to be way back here. Well, like right here. So I'm right here at this corner. And people would be like crouch walking across looking for me, like really slow. They would be looking for me. And they're trying to, those people that are doing that, they know that if they're farther back and they're a smaller target, it's going to be hard. I have to be, you know, and I'm up close, they're going to see a lot more of me than I'm going to catch of them right away. So when I pull back here, all I see is their head. All they probably see is, you know, my head and my torso, you know, my shoulders. You just see the red. Well, you don't got a sniper on. So that's what they're going to see. So if we were to reverse positions and DJ went up there, I could see him from so many different angles, and I'm going to show you now, because, well, this is, you know, the whole point of this. Alright, so, he's standing right there. I could see DJ. Look at him. I see him, right? But he's in cover, so there's not a lot of place I can see him here. Now, if he were standing in the open or the top of the stairs or just standing straight up, go ahead and stand up. And yeah, it's somewhere like right there, right? You have a lot of people that won't know to take cover. They won't try to minimize what their hitbox is. I could see him from back here, and you just look. I don't even have to scope it. I'm just seeing him from all sorts of angles, right? So if you're trying to hold an area, so if DJ was trying to hold this area, he would have to know what I can see from where he's standing. He would have to know, knowing, and that's the hard part, knowing where you're standing. And knowing what you can see versus what they can see is going to be an advantage. Now, if he was farther back, like really far where I was earlier, I could probably get into the room and he wouldn't know it because he couldn't see me. His radar would have to tell him. But if he's sniping and he's in that scope, here I am. I'm at the stairs. So you got to know what you can and can't cover. So if he wanted to, you know, he would have to stand right about right about here. for him to see that I could come into the building. But for him to get a clean shot, probably not. Especially if there are still a lot of hunters running around PvP. And this weekend, I felt like there were a lot. And last weekend, you know, they would come, they would slide right here, boom, chase step, in the room, right? Titans with their anti-air swords, they would slide in, in the room, boom. So, knowing what you, so this is it. Here we go. Let me break it down just a little bit more. Let me try to break it down a little bit more. You want to know what you're trying to defend, okay? So I want to keep everyone out of this door. That means I have to be in a position that's going to be able to cover this whole door. So I'm going to actually be more exposed because of right here. Now, you also have to go a little bit further back, right? You have to know what the enemy's doing. If he's shotgunning anti-air swords, that means I'm not going to want to be back here sniping, especially if the most aggressive player is the one that's pushing in first. So in round 1s and round 2, it's very important to find out how the enemy plays, what they like to do, especially round 1 and round 2, because now you've experienced both sides of the spawn, and you want to counter that the next time you come in. So if I was back here looking to snipe, I'm going to take the more cautious approach. I'm going to be looking, I'm going to be aiming right about here. And no matter what happens, someone goes far back, I'm going to adjust, someone goes up close, you know, I'm going to try to follow it. But once I've witnessed that one time, I'm like, all right, if we got a guy that's sliding in, I'm going to come on close, and I'm going to probably be right here. Now, let's say there were no snipers on his team, right? And he was the one trying to be aggressive over here, because that happened a lot. I would be here, I'd be looking at my radar, and I would, boom, grenade lockdown, and then shoot a couple times, and then I would try to finish him. If I didn't already kill him, I would be, you know, trying to pursue that kill. So you want to know what you want to lock. So question 1, what is the enemy doing? Are they shotguns? Are they snipers? If they're snipers, yeah, they're probably going to challenge you down here, right? So you're going to come through, you're going to look for the snipe. Again, this is enemy awareness. You need to know what the enemy can see, and that's why when it comes to sniping or when it comes to holding in an area, you need to know where the enemy could literally, I would have to adjust my scope anywhere from here, yep, all the way down to here. That's a lot. That's a lot of space. And if they have 2 people strafe out and you're not ready for it, you may, sometimes I'll sit there and I'll be like, oh, there's 2, and my brain will hesitate for a second, and then I'll get double bodied or just head sniped by one of them before I react to pull my trigger, because my eyes see 2 people and my brain's like, but you're aiming, I could be aiming right on DJ, and I, you know, just a small lapse in my reaction, and now I'm dead. So be aware of what the enemy can see. Now that doesn't mean always hide at the back, because if you always hide at the back, you're never going to be able to stop those aggressive players, and eventually you're going to get to the point where not only do you need to learn how to. Even if you're sniping, you got a primary, you need to learn what your primary can do and how you can lock down that area. So again, go into private matches with some of these maps, and the areas that you were trying to lock down are the ones you had the toughest time with, or maybe you play with me and it's like, hey, Ken liked to do this, and you know, I said this a lot of times, the most successful teams this weekend were the ones that locked down the library area. Let me take me and a friend and see how, you know, how I can get there, who gets there first, how fast can I get there compared to my other friend, and what I can do to prevent that, or some of the things I can see that are very obvious, what pathing I can take to get there in time. You can even find people from my community. I'm sure there are people right in my own Twitch community that'll be of the like mind, right? Maybe your friends are like, nah, man, I don't want to do that. It sounds like too much work, or you know, you're trying too hard, or blah blah blah. Get someone from the community, they'll be doing that. So that's number 1. Number 2, we're gonna talk about retreating. Now, DJ, go ahead and go to the middle by the pillar. Now, inside. So there was 2 times, and this stuck out in my head because twice it was the same. It was like the same scenario, only slightly different. I had a teammate by the middle pillar, right, and the wheels were up, so they were, you know, you could just run through. So the wheels are about to cut us off. But I had 2 teammates, 2 separate teammates, 2 separate cards, do 2 separate things. I had a super in one game. and my other teammate had a super in a different game. So let me cover the one where I had a super. Now, if you play with someone, knowing what your teammates like to do is a huge advantage. If you're playing with a bunch of different people all the time, you're gonna have, you're not gonna have as much chemistry or synergy because you don't know what they do regularly. If you watch me regularly, you play with me regularly. I play the top Trey Stormcaller most of the time. I think it's the most powerful super in the game. It can be shut down by Thunder Crash, and if an Arc Staff or any of the melee supers get too close to me, and I think that would just be Arc Staff and Spectral, I'm gonna have a tough time. But sometimes I can still pull the win out. Knowing that, if I have a super and one of those three, let's say, Nova Bomb and Thunder Crash and Blade Barrage, let's say those are not where you're running from. If you were in the middle and you needed to retreat, you're running from a melee super that's already been popped, but your teammate has a super, right? You wouldn't want to run from the middle pillar. And one of my teammates, he did this. He ran from the middle pillar, ran to me, and then ran out the door to 2 snipers. And it was a 2v3 at the time. I think someone already died. And I was like, I was fighting the snipers, but I knew a super was coming. So I'm like, all right, boom. I disengaged with the snipers. And this was, I think, the enemy match point, or it was like right before that. And my teammate rolled over here. I'm like, all right, cool. He's going to bring that super to me. I'm going to pop. I'm going to kill it. And we're going to be in a 2-on-2. This was, we didn't play often. We didn't play regularly. So he didn't think about this. He probably didn't know that about me. He ran out the door. And I was just dumbfounded at that time and confused. And I was just like, So I popped my super and rolled right out that door with him. I'm like, all right, he's going to get shot at by snipers. I need to get out there while he's getting shot. And instead of taking the 1 in here, I need to get the 2 out there. I think we had another round to play. I'm not sure. If we did, I made a huge mistake. I should have just been like, well, I'm just going to let him die. And I'm going to do what I can this round in a 1v3. Because it was more silly for me to pop my super. And I said, hey, why'd you run out there? He's like, well, I was running from the super. I'm like, why didn't you bring it to me? I had a super. Well, I forgot the reasoning, but it was, it was something along the lines that just, it's just, he didn't know. Like, if he would have known, either maybe he didn't remember I had a super, maybe he didn't know how confident I was or how that would play out. He was just running. So I think it was panic mode at that point. And, I'm just like, and if he knew that there were snipers out there, he chose to go out there. If he didn't know there were snipers out there, then he went into the unknown and he ran away from the teammates. So the point being, when you're retreating from something important, just go to your teammates. If your teammates are in a good position, fight with them and call, hey, I got a super behind me. Let them know. Be like, oh, okay. And they'll be ready, right? So communicate that with your teammates. Don't just run away from your teammates, right? So I had another scenario where a guy was in the middle. He was a super. He was the Stormcaller. And he was in the middle by the pillar. We had a guy, I think we had a man down. And it was 2v3. So my teammate was standing by the pillar and they were hiding behind it, kind of by heavy, and they were emoting. And then 2 enemies pushed in. So go ahead, DJ, and go by the pillar. All right, so and get on the other side by where, the corner where, right over there. Yeah. All right, so he was there emoting and I could see him. And then 2 enemies pushed from outside inside to him. And what he did was, and I'm going to go to the wheel. I was over there again. No super on my hand. What he did was he ran outside. He just ran away. He ran away from his teammate. Like, his retreat was to go outside. And then the third guy that was outside, because there was a third guy on the team, he was outside over here. He had left this area, went that way, and I'm over here like I'm trying to, put some bullets on the guys that he just ran by. I'm like, all right, I don't know what he's going to do. And he got collapsed on by 3, and I said, hey man, why'd you go out there? He was like, because 2 people pushed me. And I said, okay, so some areas are tough to hold. Let me break this down for you. In this spot right here, this area, this is not the greatest place to stand. I don't care if you're over here, you're on top, like just this general elevation and location of this map there are so many angles you have to be worried about. And it can get very chaotic and hectic even if you have 3 people watching it. Or 3 people alive and, you know, only 3 enemies and they're all outside. So his option was to, he was emoting, they pushed me. His option was, this is the option he chose, he ran outside. He isolated himself from his teammate. I don't know where the third guy was, but he definitely isolated himself from me and then died. And I said, and I've said this before, and I'll, you know, say it again here in a moment. So I said, hey man, why'd you run outside? Why didn't you run to me? Because they were pushing me. And I said, so you chose 1 out of 6 options. And I said, look at where you're at and look at what your options are. You want to know what your options are when you're holding an area too. This is important. This is more awareness. Again, you cannot cover awareness in one video. It's always ever changing, evolving, right? When a new map comes out, you have to apply new awareness for the map. Map awareness is important. So I said there are, you know, I counted, I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 6 options for him to move. There were 7 choices he had. Honestly, there were 8. But there were, for a direction, there were 6. Now, I'm not going to count just jumping up, right? That's going to be covered in option, you know, 7. He could have held his ground. Option 7 was to go nowhere and, you know, hope that I'm going to shoot whatever's pushing, which was my, I thought, you know, when he didn't move and he was emoting, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to start shooting whatever pushes him. And he's, hopefully whatever lands in front of him is just going to die. Because it was a 2-man push into a 1, and then 1 guy was out there not pushing. So he didn't hold his ground. And then the last option, option 8, he could have popped a super. Now I've said it before and I'll say it again, guys. If you have a super, right, if you have a Titan Smash, you have Bottom Tree Stormcaller Landfall, Thunder Crash, Blade Barrage, right, you have any of those, you know, Nova Bomb, anything that you can pop and it's probably going to kill something, or its only job is to probably just kill something in the immediate vicinity. If someone pushes you and they don't have a super, they don't have heavy, they don't have an answer, you're still in control of that engagement. You don't have to move. All you have to do is just kill. Now it's time to kill. It's pop your super and kill. Now he had a Stormcaller versus 2 people. Very powerful. I honestly expected him just when they push. Okay, they're going into the open. Boom, pop, start killing them, right? And in my mind, that's what I would have done 100%. I said, all right, if they're going to push me and they're going to be brave enough to do it, I'm going to pop my super. So he didn't even choose to come to me, which was another option, and then we could team shot. But, you know, and then we would have to worry about over there. So I think the best option would have been for him to pop. So know where your teammates are, right? Don't worry about what they're comfortable with. You know, are you comfortable challenging the super with your super? Don't worry about that right away. What you want to do is always just try to be aware of what your teammates are doing and where you're at, and have an escape plan. Try not to ever box yourself in a corner if you can avoid it. You want that map awareness, you want that awareness of your teammates, that way you have options, and when the time comes, you're not in panic mode, what do I do, 2 people push me, and you're not just making a reaction play, you're not just doing whatever, you're, alright, if someone pushes me, I'm going to go to the side to my teammates, right? If someone pushes me, I'm going to go away from my teammates because it's a Thunder Crash, so my plan is, you know, and you can communicate that, especially that, you know, we got 3 people here, we got 2 bodies here, and there's Thunder Crash on the enemy team. We could already just spread out, but let's say this guy's an amazing sniper, no one needs to be alone, right? Everyone, you know, hold hands. You could say, hey, if the Thunder Crash moves in, I'm jumping to the left, and then someone could be like, okay, I'll jump to the right, and then the other guy would be like, I'll just jump backwards, boom. And now there's a chance that he gets 2, but I doubt he ever gets 3 most of the time. Now he could, you know, he could get too close before you start moving, and that's, you know, bad on you. So again, have map awareness to know your options of where you want to go, and all of this ties together. Your player awareness, right, knowing what you can and can't do, right? Your teammate awareness, not only knowing what they can and can't do. Remember, we covered it in another video, in the first video, knowing what your teammates can cover. So if DJ was standing here for a weird reason and, you know, he was watching the outside mid, he could see top mid, he could adjust and see bottom left, he could, you know, adjust and see, damn, that aim assist. He could adjust and see bottom right, or, you know, and I know that if he's there covering those angles, and most of the enemies playing the mid, he's probably not going to see, you know, anything that shifts quickly in front of him. He's not going to be able to adjust for. So I can, you know, I can kind of like cover one angle of the door, or I cover, you know, a whole different area, right? So knowing what your teammates can and cannot look at is going to help you position yourself or get ready to respond when you need to respond. So all of this ties together, from your awareness to your team's awareness to your team's placement to the map awareness to the enemy's awareness and what they can and can't do. I think that's going to cover it. You know, for this video we covered a little bit of retreating, what enemies can and can't see, and your positioning. Keep that in mind. It's a lot. It comes with time. It's only a matter of time before all of this makes more sense. Again, if you want more hands-on experience, you want, you know, and I hear you, I like your videos, they have a lot of information, but it's hard for me to put it into practice. That's what my trials training is for. I'm going to be launching it this month, May the 5th. Yeah, the 5th month. May is when I'm going to launch it. It's coming back from Destiny 1. It is a payment thing. It is not a free thing. It is a payment thing. It is on my off day on Tuesdays, and it's a weekly thing where we get together, and I essentially, what happens in the videos, I break down in front of you one-on-one or with the group that signs up, and we go through this with a bunch of other perks. If you want to check it out and you're interested in it, make sure you stop by the stream, hit that trials training command, follow the instructions, and you will find yourself to a place that is what you're looking for. If you're looking to learn, if you're looking to expand, and you need that hands-on approach. So thank you all for watching so much. I super appreciate it. Hit that subscribe, comment, thumb it up, especially the thumb ups. Apparently that, you know, that helps out the video, gets traction, and I will see you guys on Twitch. I'll catch you all next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.